Are you looking for a powerlifting program that's gonna put kilos on your total and make you bigger? Of course you are. Who in their right mind wouldn't want that? Well, guess what, folks? I have the program for you. Today, we are going to review Bryce Lewis's greatest hits. I have just finished running the program in its entirety, and I want to talk to you about some pros, some cons, who I think should run the program, and whether or not I think it's a good program in general. This is a 5 days a week program that leans on high frequency of the power lifts: squat, bench, and deadlift. You are squatting 3 times a week, you are benching 4 times a week, and you are deadlifting twice a week. This may seem like a lot, and if you are a beginner, I think that this may be too frequent for you specifically. Now, everybody's different, but as a beginner, I think that this level of frequency may not lend itself well to achieving a lot of muscle mass, because you will be so fatigued from the primary lifts of the day. And if you are benching 4 times a week, squatting 3 times a week, deadlifting twice a week, a lot of your resources are gonna go towards those lifts and not really towards the accessories that's gonna put a lot of muscle on your frame. So if you're a beginner, I don't think this program is great for you. Obviously you can run it, I'm not your dad, but I would recommend finding you more of a power building style program, even though I hate that word, but something that will help you put on a lot of muscle mass when you start out in your lifting journey. If you are intermediate to advanced and you've never really dabbled in higher frequency with the power lifts, I think this is a great opportunity for you to get your feet wet in higher frequency lifting and see how you as an individual respond to this type of training. The program is 9 weeks long. You have a 4-week accumulation phase, then you have a deload, and then you have a peaking phase into a test week. Pretty standard stuff in terms of generally building a powerlifting program. Usually you're gonna have some type of accumulation, hypertrophy phase, followed by a peaking phase. Sometimes some people add a strength phase in there. Another great thing is on BOOSTCAMP, which is a great app if you haven't checked it out. I'm not sponsored, but I think you should check it out. They got some great programs on there. On BOOSTCAMP, there's an opportunity to select 4 different variations. You've got high volume sumo deadlift, low volume sumo deadlift, high volume conventional deadlift, low volume conventional deadlift. So there's a great opportunity to customize the program towards your needs. If you know that you respond well to higher volumes, then you can click that option. That's what I did, and it worked out really well. I wouldn't say that it's a huge volume. It's still pretty high volume, but it's not a ton. So even if you're not very sensitized to higher volumes, you can give the high volume a try and see how it goes. Time to get into some pros and cons. First up, in the pro category, there's no wasted time in this program. I love programs that are just to the point. You're gonna get in, you're gonna do the work, and you're gonna get out. No wasted effort, no wasted movement, not a lot of junk volume. You're going in, you're doing your main lift, probably doing a secondary of one of the power lifts, squat, bench, or deadlift. Then you're gonna hit your accessories, and then you're gonna get the heck out of the gym. Great stuff, really good to keep you on track. You can add a few exercises here or there. It is a little light on bicep work and deltoids, which most powerlifting programs are, because you don't really need those. But if you want to, throw them in there. If you can recover from it, go for it. But no program is perfect, so I do have a couple of cons. And my first one is that there's not a lot of bench press variation. Now, this may not be a con for a lot of people. If you just want competition bench press touches, this is a great plan. But for me, I know that I have a couple weaknesses in the bench press, so I like to include a lot of tempo work, a lot of Larson press, and there really wasn't an opportunity to do that. I'm sure that I could have tweaked some things, moved them around, but I wanted to do the program as written so that I could give you guys a pretty good review of what the program actually is, rather than put my own spin on it. Back to the pros, this has one of the best squat microcycles that I've ever used. Now, a microcycle for me is a week of training. As we said before, we're squatting 3 times a week, and there is a medium, heavy, light day of squatting, which is not breaking any new ground. Obviously, you've got 5-3-1, you've got all the different Jim Wendler programs that utilize this same style of heavy, medium, light, but I had never done it. And I think that this is put in the program really, really well. You start off with your medium day, higher volume. Then in the middle of the week, you have a greasing the groove type day where you're just practicing technique, lighter loads, lower volume, and then you peak in that microcycle into a heavier squat day, which just really, really worked well for me. I think it's one of the best parts about the program. My last con is pretty individual, and that is that you end the week with a heavy deadlift session followed by a heavy squat session. This may not be a huge problem for a lot of people. For me, if I'm deadlifting conventionally, which I was doing on this program, it works really well to go heavy conventional to squat. I don't see much carryover there. However, if I'm sumo deadlifting, I find there's a huge carryover. My adductors are fried. I don't really get great squat work right after great deadlifting work. So having heavy right back to back. Really not my favorite thing in the world, but there's not really much you can do here in terms of switching things up. Because it is 5 days, you don't really have that much wiggle room. It's manageable for sure. I still did really well with my squats and my deadlifts, but it's one thing that I think is a little bit off on this program. As for my numbers, things really just skyrocketed. I think I respond very, very well to higher frequency. I went into this program with a deadlift PR of around 230 kilograms. This was sumo. This was a year ago, and I hit at the end of this block 562, which is 255 kilos. So what is that? 25 kilos in 9 weeks. Now, obviously I've still been training. I've put on some weight. So there's some other factors that led to the 25 kilogram increase in my deadlift. But this program did set me up very well. It peaked me into the deadlift test, and I hit 255 at around a 9 RPE. So there's a little bit of room in there. So I think it was very, very successful for me. I didn't test my bench or my squat because I'm dealing with a couple elbow issues and a little bit of knee pain. So since there's no competition on the books, I didn't want to push it too hard, but those lifts have also gone up quite a bit. When I've gotten to my doubles and my triples, I'm crushing weight that used to really, really destroy me for singles. Huge improvements all across the board. The big question is, should you run this program? And if you are an intermediate to an advanced lifter, I think you'll have a lot of success with it. If you want to try out higher frequency lifting, I think you'll also have a lot of success with it. If you've got 9 weeks to kill, you don't have a competition coming up, go ahead and give it a shot. I think it's a really well-built program. It's one of the best programs on BOOSTCAMP. Download the app, give it a shot. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you send it around to all your friends. Like, subscribe. We got videos coming out every week helping you get stronger. If you would like to check out another one of my reviews of the BOOSTCAMP programs, you can click on this video right here to go through Bull Mastiff by Bromley, another great program on BOOSTCAMP. Thank you so much for watching. Get strong and stay strong.